Watch me. Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's? Yeah, that's it. I know. Thank you. But that's not what I want. I know. Oh, that's not true. What? Yeah? Yep. Are you going to come out and...
Yeah, I'll have my thing. Do you want me to put the document up? You know where?
It is... we'll just wing it. I know the material well enough.
All right.
So... hello. You watch me? Hey, Wyatt. I know you are I know that's not what I asked for. You do a sit? What a good girl. You did a sit. You down? That's not quite it. That's not quite it. Hi. Good sit. Down. I know, you get extra lovey. No, ma'am, this is not for you. You okay, Tibbins? You happy boy? Are you a happy boy? Come on. You were extra hungry. Oh, hello. Is that your beans? Those are your beans. I didn't ask for those, but thank you. Well, thank you. You were being so good. Watch me. You're being so good. Are you the star student today? That was great. That was wonderful. Oh, no. You okay? Is that too much? Are you the spook today? Yeah. Yeah. Watch me. Yeah, you need your nails trimmed, lady. You got raptor claws happening. Oh, God, you're also full of grass. That's disgusting. Thank you very much. You want brushies? You want these brushies? No? No brushies? Yeah. I know. What a good girl. You okay, Tibby? Excuse me, ma'am. You want brushes? Oh, butt sketches. You want... I know. I know. What happened? What are we doing, guys? Here. Here. Oh, you're so scraggly. What is that? Did you just huff? Did you just huff? Oh, big girl. Oh, butt skitzes. Hey, what? Watch me? No? What are we looking at? Are we looking for Paul? Hey, Tibbs. You come here? Are we being good? There we go. Hello. Are you huffing?
Okay, so I won't be heard during this process
Why?
because it's going to be a mismatch. I mean, I can fix that. I can make it so. I just won't be able to answer it.
I can answer questions.
I'll figure it out.
Gross. Did we have anybody join, or is it just us so far?
That's 3 people.
3 people? Hello, 3 people. Sorry, we are again having technical difficulties of a different variety this time. For those of you joining, this is Wyatt. She is almost 2 years old. Her birthday's on May 18th. And she is beautiful. Well, she was. You getting in the water? This is Wyatt when she thinks she's going to steal the brushie. Hi! Can I have a kiss? Thank you. Are we being a good girl? Hi. Oh, I didn't ask for that, but thank you very much. All right. Are you still huffing at him?
I can see if Steve can join. I can call him or message him real quick to see if he can hop in and give us just a bit of feedback to make sure things are all set. Because I can't really troubleshoot right now with the way things are.
Why are you so concerned about that right now?
Because I don't know if I'm able to be heard.
You don't need to be heard. I do. This is the beauty of technology, guys. So,
Hey, Scoots. Scoots trades. I can hear and see everything well.
yay!
Oh my god. Good.
Thank you.
Dolls and adventure when we start.
Yeah, so you can hear Paul okay. He's coming through. You can hear him. Yes? Or is it just me you hear?
Not as loud. Can't be heard.
Okay, that works.
Yep.
So yeah, hi everybody. My name is Shauna. I am the executive director here at the Big Bad Project. Wyatt, here, is our 2-year-old, or almost 2-year-old female ambassador. She is currently hunting for dehydrated lamb in my hands. That's not how we ask, ma'am. Ma'am. This is a Wendy's. So when I say this is a Wendy's, that's not even a joke. This is how we ask them to back up. We try to have fun with some of our cues here. Beans. I know, I didn't have anything ready. My bad. Timing was off. So when I'm in here with these guys, it's like constant work. Sometimes this is like purely social engagement where I just hang with them, they hang with me. If they want to approach, they will. If they don't, then that's okay too. Other times we're working on training behaviors, like you just witnessed with Beans. I know, hello.
I can't hear what you're saying.
What happened now?
Okay, we're back.
Oh, okay. I was being informed that there were technical difficulties when there were none. So again, bear with us here.
The best kind of technical difficulties are ones that fix themselves.
Yes, best kind of tech difficulties are ones that just kind of repair themselves and you never have to be involved. Here. Good girl. So yeah, today we're going to talk a little bit about what we call the Wyoming Incident. For those of you who are unaware, and I'm sure most of you are aware of what happened, but I'm just going to give you a brief overview. There is a man named Cody Roberts who ran down a young female wolf in Wyoming with a snowmobile. It is assumed that he severely injured it and then proceeded to bring it home and then bring it to a local bar where he had its mouth duct taped at one point, a muzzle on it at a different point, and it was tied up in the bar and harassed for a number of hours until he finally took it behind the bar and allegedly shot it. So this isn't an incident that should have happened, in our opinion, with any animal at all, domestic, wild, or otherwise. The most disturbing part of this is that he was charged with a $250 fine, and that is currently where this stands. Wyoming has come out and condemned his actions, but there have been no real repercussions other than a lot of internet hate, which I'm going to go ahead and say on record right now. It is okay to not like this man. It is okay to hate the actions that he did. What is not okay, and what I do see a lot of, and have firsthand seen a lot of, are people sharing his children's information, where they go to school, who their friends are, their social media profiles, and that's disgusting, guys. Don't do that. That is a really gross action, and I'm sure all of you would not want to be blamed for the sins of your parents. So, that said, where are we now? Wyoming has no laws that are established to really prevent this sort of action from happening. The way, would you like brushies? Would you like snackies? Hi. Watch me. Good girl. The way that their laws have been set up. Watch me, please. That's not watching. And the way that their laws have been interpreted. And really, that is what it is, right? Like, laws are open to interpretation, and when you have council that represents the state or different departments in the state, it is their job to interpret the laws written by that state or enacted in that state. And what's really disappointing in this case is that we have a law that was interpreted in such a way where a $250 fine was all that happened. Because apparently wild animals, wild predators are, I guess, a-okay to be tortured or have a death where they languish in agony. And there's no nice way to say that. This shit is not okay. And certain things have come out since then where we now know that his trucking company has made a substantial amount of money from the state. And we're not, it's a bad look for Wyoming, right? I can't tell you there's a conspiracy going on there. I don't know. But it sure is a bad look. So that's where we stand. And really, I don't see a lot of real action being taken by the state itself. And I think this is where you and us as organizations come in to support other organizations like Wolves of the Rockies, Wyoming Untrapped. It is important that we use this opportunity, and really that's what it is, as much as it is a tragedy, to start looking at how to change legislation, not just in Wyoming, but in any state. You are able to take this incident and write your own representatives outside of Wyoming in your home states and say, hey, this happened in Wyoming, I don't want this to happen here, so how do we fix it? Hi. I know, you were too greedy. You were too greedy. That's what happened. I know. Sit. Can we do a sit, please? Good girl. And really, I want to know what you guys think. I want to know how you feel. Thoughts, Paul?
I think his acts were deplorable, like beyond a doubt. You know,
like running over and then parading a wild animal around, like that's some crazy achievement. It's advocacy aside,
Yep.
like the morality of it is just nothing about it is good for the state or for them or for the establishment that allowed it to happen.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It was not just one man's actions. Where's the accountability with everybody who was there that night? Everybody who was present is culpable, right? Everybody who was there letting that happen is just as much to blame as Cody Roberts. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Ma'am.
It's asking, how do we address a local culture that fosters this kind of attitude towards animals and behavior?
So that's a really tough question, because inherently, in our opinion, it comes down to perspective, right? As advocates, we want to protect, I'm not asking for beans, but thank you. We want to protect the wildlife, wolves or otherwise, right? And our perspective as advocates is to protect those things. But you also have to understand the perspective of other people who live in areas where agribusiness is their livelihood. And not all agribusiness is big farms. I actually know somebody who has a small emu farm, and their local economy is dependent on the emu oil and the byproducts of those emu from that small farm, and they're a very touristy area that has a tourist season. Unfortunately, they had a cougar prey on some of their emu, get past their security features, and kill, I want to say half, but don't quote me on that, close to half of their stock. And it decimated the local economy for that season. And it took them almost 3 years to kind of recover their stock to a good point. But the point I'm trying to make is, I think advocates have an idea of what ranches look like, and they're the equivalent to what we think of for big pharma, right? Companies that cannot be touched, or companies that are maybe unethical in some of their practices. But it's really unfortunate that they're painted in such a bad way. Same with hunters or trappers. And let me say, I am vehemently against trapping. I don't think that that is a moral or ethical practice. However, it is legal. And I'm not going to shit on somebody because they are acting legally within their rights if I'm not actively trying to change legislation. Now, all of this to say, I think what needs to happen is a shift in culture, but that shift in culture cannot come with narrow views, narrow minds, and unacceptance of practices that are not your own. It is necessary to accept that your viewpoint and opinion is not the only valid one. And while we have this preconceived idea that ranchers will never change their mind, or agribusiness is only out to ensure the lives of their stock, that isn't true. And I know that isn't true because we do have conversations with a lot of different ranchers, some big, some small, with representatives from cattlemen's associations and livestock associations. And for them, they want to save their business and their livelihood, but they definitely don't love the idea of being looked down on in the process. To them, wolves are pests, okay? And I think we need to accept that that's how they view them. But just because they view them as pests doesn't always mean they think that killing them is the answer. It really is a complicated question. There's no right answer here. It's trying to bridge a gap. And there are so many different ways to do that, but I think the bottom line is respecting somebody else's perspective, even if you don't agree with it. I think that needs to be done on both sides. And I think, unfortunately, what happens a lot with advocacy is you have advocates who think they're right. And it is a very black and white topic, and that's not the case. There is a lot of gray area. But you have to be willing to accept that things aren't black and white. That was a really good question, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it opens up a whole can of worms on, the right and wrongs of, what's culturally acceptable.
Yeah.
Right? If everyone's... I do like how Tibby has decided that he is not joining in on this at all.
Yeah, I think Tibby is like, I've seen enough of you today. Tibby!
Scoot says thank you for your thoughts.
You're welcome. How do you feel about it? Like, what are your thoughts on, or suggestions on how to change viewpoints, especially with the hunters or trappers or ranchers who look at wolves and just think the only good wolf is a dead wolf? For us, we work a lot on educational programming. One of the programs that we have is called Wolves in the Classroom, and we start at high school age trying to offer different viewpoints and engage in discussions where kids have a chance to learn about the importance that these animals carry, the weight that they carry in their ecosystems and their environments. And that's a start, right? Like that is, it's just us out there, not just us, but for our organization, it's just us little people trying to make a difference, but it's a start. And there are many other organizations that do the same. But I think education is the first step towards bridging a gap or advocating for anything. Hi. Hello. And, as you can see, they're not, inherently violent animals. Wyatt is definitely one of our more aloof ambassadors. That's why we were saying, we're a little little surprised that Tibby is off camera right now in his little hovel, because he is definitely the one who is more engaging and likes to be brushed and pet and just interacted with the most, and why it's more the opposite. So the fact that she's here, oh, I get a spot. Ooh.
Says, do we have evidence that laws actively prevent things like this from happening, or just make it punishable after the fact? You said this before, you asked in the previous
Oh, okay. Okay, so repeat the question one more time for me.
So, do you have evidence that laws effectively prevent things like this from happening, or just make it punishable after the fact?
I mean, let me put this in broader terms. So, if we had no law whatsoever, let me use speeding as an example, because I admittedly break the law frequently when I am driving when it comes to speeding. I will go 5 over the speed limit, 10 over the speed limit, knowing full well that it is a punishable offense. And I have been ticketed before, and my insurance does go up. And so now I'm less likely to speed sometimes if I'm in a hurry, right? I think that's just inherent people behavior most of the time. But I do think twice about maybe watching how fast I'm going, so that way I don't get a ticket and have my insurance go up. So the penalties of speeding are definitely a deterrent, but that's on a really small scale, right? If let's look at murder. If murder was not illegal, what would that look like? If there were no penalties to that, what would that look like? What would our society look like? How different would it be shaped, right? And I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say that it would be a lot different. I don't know what that looks like. I have an idea, but the powers that be made sure that that was a serious offense that was punishable by death in some states. I don't think that you guys can see this, but Wyatt has buried herself in grass clippings, and she is a happy Puffy Woof. Are you happy, Puff?
I'm mildly upset that we don't have a camera pointing at them.
I mean, we could just angle the camera over here if you guys want. It doesn't matter to me.
The bars will get in the way.
Oh, well, I mean, I can entice them. Not Tibby. Tibby is sound asleep, guys. Bird! Bird! Are you paying attention? Oh, you're paying attention. Hi, gross man. Hello. 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 Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Guys, this is Tibby. I know. You are being too pushy, though. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Oh, she's going to go get your toy. Okay. We're working on down for Tibby. Down? That's not down. That's bullshit. Sit. Did you wake up and decide you wanted to join? So he's full of grass clippings and he's wet. He was splashing in his tub. No. No, you're not gonna lay down? Okay. So this is Ambassador Tiberius. I call him Tibby Wibbs, Wibby. And I often tell him he stinks like butt. Because you do stink like butt. Excuse me, ma'am? Are you going to try to steal my pouch? That's not acceptable. So back to the topic at hand. So I do believe that laws and penalties to breaking the law change our behaviors and shape our behaviors as a society. Do I think it's going to be a deterrent for people who are assholes? No, I don't. There are, like I said, penalty for murder is death in some states, and that isn't enough of a deterrent for people. So I believe that a $250 fine is nothing. That isn't a punishment that I think befits the crime, and I think that it is up to the rest of the population to dictate what that looks like through legislative action. And that's why it's really important. Like, sign the petitions, call your representatives, send letters. What I do know for a fact is that calls and emails are one thing, but you know what your representatives really don't like to see because it requires a response? Letters. Old-fashioned letters. Send them a letter, and those pile up real quick. And it forces a response where, gathered petitions may not. Hi, thank you. Thank you. You want belly rub? That was enough for Tibby, by the way. He's like done now.
Yeah, no, he bought his snack and he's done.
You are being awfully lovey today. Are you okay? Are you okay? You want brushies? But I'm sitting. Their shedding season is upon us, so they're starting to lose some of their coat. You want that? That's you. You stink. No. So, what are your thoughts? Answer the question. Like, do you think it's a deterrent?
To an extent, but as with anything, there are some people that are willing to take punishment in order to still act out the crime. If he knew ahead of time that the most he was getting was a $250 fine, why not?
I'm not Cody Roberts, but I also feel like he probably didn't think he was going to get a $250 fine.
Not even.
I mean, if it wouldn't have been for an anonymous source after the fact, we would have never known. And this happened, what was it, like, I want to say October? November?
So it's only being really ousted now.
Yeah. This happened quite a bit ago. And we're just now finding out what happened. So yeah, I mean, he got to live with a $250 fine and not think about it or think it was a big deal until people actually found out his actions. That's it.
Fortunately, in a lot of cases, it really does seem like laws only change when there is an abundance of uproar over the punishment.
Yeah.
Or tragedy occurs that requires the changes in the law.
How many laws do you guys know of that are named after a person? Or how many things, like Amber Alerts, they're in existence because of a girl named Amber who was not found in time. Change happens on the heels of tragedy. Because most of the time, unfortunately, we don't think about it until it's too late. Hi. You are being extra lovey. Are you okay? Are you dying? You're dying. Beans. Good girl. What are you doing?
She is very, very
Beans?
affectionate right now. So, what happens next? What happens to... The state
Beans.
have already made they've staked their claim, and they've said what in regards to the matter?
So there have been statements made by their governor and whatnot that they condemn the actions of this man. I believe there is an open investigation, but I believe that that happened because they were pressured into it by the response that they've received. And is it fair to judge an entire state by the actions of one man? No, it's not. But the response that the state has had, which is, it's out of our hands, that guy is really bad. But they're not deciding to do something further, to make an example, interpret the law differently than they had. I see it as speaking to the event without using words. You know, they're condemning the actions verbally, but actions are louder than words, and their actions haven't been substantial. But like I said, what matters now is using this as an opportunity to start engaging with elected officials. We may not be residents of that state, but I sure as shit am not going to visit for tourism. Not right now. I want to see what they do in response. Why would I want to go support a state that is okay running down wildlife or torturing wildlife? What happened? Are you okay now? Those are your beans. Hi. No, ma'am, this is a Wendy's. I can choose as an individual who I want to support, what states I want to support, the tourism that I want to support, where I spend my money, and it sure as shit isn't going to be in Wyoming for quite some time. Can I help you? Excuse you. No, you were being rude. Do I have more comments that I can answer? No?
No.
Oh. Hi.
That's okay. It is a lovely, lovely day.
I'm happy just sitting out here hanging out with them, man.
Yeah.
Are you beautiful?
He'd be so majestic and we can't see him.
That's debatable. Tibby's majestic, kinda, but covered in grass clippings and it's wet and gross. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Hi.
Yeah, I do hope that there is some change in the law here regarding cruel and unusual punishment towards animals. Because if he had run that wolf over and then humanely killed it...
I mean, so here's the thing. I don't know the details on how it came to be that he ran this animal over, right?
Yep.
Could it have been a situation where this animal ran out in front of him and he clipped it? Maybe. Excuse you, ma'am. Do I think that's the case? No. I believe, personally, that he ran down this animal and intentionally hurt it. What? I don't have anything for you when you act like that. It's like having kids. It's like having a child permanently stuck in a toddler stage, but smarter. Hi.
Scoots is asking, what do you feel would be an appropriate punishment in this case?
Jail time. A larger fine. I definitely think we should explore, especially because he has a trucking company and he has had successful bids with the state and with Fish and Game. I think that his company should no longer be able to be eligible for government contracts. I think that's one way to, kind of kick him in the nuts. I think that he should serve jail time for this offense. Because replace wolf with any other animal, really. Do you think that's appropriate to do with your grandmother's Yorkie? I don't. I think that cruel and unusual punishment, cruelty to an animal, it shouldn't depend on the type of animal. It's unacceptable whether it's a pug or a wolf or a bear or a cougar or a skunk or a possum. That kind of shit is unacceptable, period. So I don't believe the laws should differentiate between the two, but I believe the penalties should be stiff across the board. If this had been a Labrador, he would be facing, I believe, a $150,000 fine and up to 2 years in jail. I think that's appropriate.
That is substantially more than doing the same thing to a wolf.
Yeah. And I mean, hi. Are you being a good girl right now? Watch me. Watch me. That's not what I wanted, but you get the watch treat. You get that. Beans. Thank you for those beans. Thank you for those beans. What? Guys, I can't express to you how abnormal this is for her. You're being extra today. Hi. You are trying so hard. No, ma'am. Watch me.
She's hungry for treats.
She is hungry for treats.
Yeah. She is. I don't know if you can see it, Scoots, but every now and then she'll bob her head up and down.
Bean. Bean.
That was meant to be a cue for watching, like making eye contact. But as she was growing up,
Kisses?
she could never quite figure it out. So what she does instead is she bobs her head around.
Eye contact can be inherently uncomfortable for these animals. We use it as a first step in asking for other things. So it's a cue to pay attention. We're going to interact, and it's up to them whether they want to join in, right? Excuse you, ma'am. Ma'am. Are you upset? Are you chewing on my shoes? Hi. You are just so mad right now. Here. So she has a hard time with watching. She's anticipating other things. Whereas when I asked Tibby for that same cue, he is laser focused. He is the clever girl raptor in Jurassic Park. Just hyper focused on what's coming next, where she's anticipating or trying to anticipate what's coming next. So very different behaviors with the same cue. Tibby, here. Good job, buddy. Tibby, sit. No, I love kisses, but no. Watch. But you see how, focused he is? Hi, buddy. Are you being a good boy? Oh, I got that. Oh, I got those sketches. I got those sketches for you.
Yeah, Tiberius has been so easy to train.
He's a breeze.
It's funny. You ask him to do something, and he just kind of guesses, and then
You
if
being
he
a good
gets
boy?
rewarded, he goes, "Oh, you're asking me to do that. Okay."
With the most random things too. Like I haven't asked probably for a good 6 months, 8 months for him to move to a target or hit a target. Can I help you, sir? Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. What? So, yeah, I haven't had a chance to really ask him to move out to a target, or I haven't been focusing on that. We've been kind of switching focus to other things, working on more practical cues. And yesterday, I asked him moving to different targets, and he had no problem. Hi, buddy. Oh, butt skitches. Ooh, butt skitches. Oh, I know, that feels good, Bubba. That feels good, Bubba. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That's wonderful. Hi, sweetheart. Can we? Thank you. Thank you. You want more? And the two of them will get super competitive for who gets the treat. So they'll play off of each other and get super amped up, and it's important to, keep the calm, not reward them when they're getting amped up, getting too spun up. I know you want it. Can you sit, please? No, sir. Watch me. Okay, can I get up now? You gonna think about it? You gonna think about it, bud? No, sir. That's not for you. All right. Do you want brushies? Here, bud. Oh, brushies. He loves his brushies. You want to smell? Stinks like butt. Like you.
Proud of how well your microphone's holding up.
Huh?
Proud of how well the microphone's holding up.
I mean, if the only thing was the earbuds earlier that was giving us problems, I'll consider today a win, guys. So yeah, I feel like because there are other organizations taking action right now, and by taking action, I mean they've already met with the governor's office, they've already met with elected officials to try and enact change and figure out what needs to be done as next steps. I think that is better than any petition you can sign. That's better than raging across multiple groups as a keyboard warrior. I think if you really want to make a difference, you're going to support the organizations who are out there working on changing the law, making the act of running an animal illegal, and enacting harsher punishments when you break the law. Come here, you want brushies? You want to smell him? He stinks like butt. There you go. On your belly. On your belly. Does that feel good, big girl? Okay, bye. I'm just gonna save this for later. Like right there.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's going to be for the lawmakers to decide exactly what the punishment should be, like this. But it just feels like it's because I don't know if it's because the legislators in Wyoming have never had this happen before, and they had a stopgap law in place that was never really fit for the.
Here.
Like that all the way at the top, and they really don't have that much of a care for the wild wolf population?
Watch. I think when you're an elected official, you're representing your base and your constituency, right? And if the majority of your constituents don't give a shit about wild animals, then you're inherently probably not going to give a shit. You're going to serve their interests because it's in your best interest to satisfy your base. Excuse you, ma'am. You're a good boy. You are naughty. You are naughty. Good. You guys are being so good. I swear they've been replaced. Like, they're normally way naughtier than that.
Telling me that these are doppelwolves?
Doppelwolves.
Doppel.
Are you not Tibby? Is Tibby not here anymore? Guys are gross. Thank you. You're basically a towel. Thank you. I don't have anything for you. I don't have anything for you. So yeah, I feel like we're one voice among many, but I think other things that we could potentially do. Like I said, I control where my money is spent, right? And I don't want to support ecotourism in a state that can't stand up for the animals that generate $5 million a year in ecotourism for that state. Like, what kind of appreciation are they showing to the animals that generate a decent amount of money, right? Whereas hunting and trapping, excuse you, ma'am, what are we doing? It's attached to me. What are we doing? What made you think that would work? It's a look of defeat. Oh God, I moved. So I had a train of thought and you ruined it. See, this is what happens when you work with live animals. Is you'll have like really good thought and then they'll do something that interrupts it. Oh, what I was going to say is that hunting and trapping wolves in Wyoming, those hunting tags only generate, I want to say 100,000 in the state. So if you collectively looked at how much hunting and trapping generates in Wyoming and surrounding states, I think, and round up, it's maybe 1 million, maybe. So I don't understand why animals that generate 35 million ecotourism are being treated like the bad guys. Hi. You're gross. That's your grossness. Here.
It does seem bizarre. It really does. From an economical standpoint,
This is yours.
you'd think that they would wish to make sure that these wolves are well taken care of and protected, or add more stringent rights.
You would think.
For their extermination and
Ma'am.
treatment.
Son. Can I help you? Watch. Watch.
And it's got me wondering, what about
Watch
the other
me.
states that have wild wolves?
What?
Punishments the other states have in place. What does Colorado have in place?
So, in Colorado, I believe for the same act, you would face jail time and a bigger fine.
Yeah.
Other surrounding states, I do not have that answer.
Okay.
So,
You see, for me, jail time is the biggest punishment that you can possibly, because the fine you can recoup. The jail time, or like in this case,
no. Nobody gets rewarded today.
he worked he had a business that he ran,
No.
and he is going to lose so much income.
Or not.
No?
Well, think about the attitude of the people who are supporting him. You know, the op-eds that have come out that say, well, he's a hardworking man, he's a good man, right? They're still going to utilize his services. Guys, this is not, it's not going to happen for you. It's not going to happen for you. Stop trying to make it happen. No.
Why? It's so desperate.
They're so pushy. They're pushy today. So I think that people are still going to utilize the service. I think people are still going to go like, oh, he's a decent working guy, or I don't care what he did, right?
Is this the old adage of any publicity is good publicity?
Could be.
Especially on a topic that's apparently divided, which is bizarre to me.
Right?
Right? You know, I feel like almost anything could be split in half, and you can have people in one camp and the other.
I mean, I think that's the most disappointing thing is that you are right. It could be any topic, and there's always going to be like, well, he's a good guy. He just made mistakes. This is gross. This is your fur. You know, and how would people feel if this were a child molester? He's a good guy. He just made mistakes. Like, there are always going to be defenders of shitty behavior, regardless of the topic, you know? And I think you're right in that jail time is the biggest deterrent. And I say this all the time in private, okay? In our household and in our, like when we're working out here and there's no cameras or not being quoted. You can always make more money, right? It's out there. You can always earn more money. But I can't get more time. That's a finite resource that I have, right? So if I am giving you my time, I think that is a gold star, right? That's the approval, gold star approval right there. So finding somebody like Cody Roberts, yeah, sure, whatever, he can go make more money. Because Paul's right. There is the old adage of no publicity is bad publicity. So there are going to be people that are supporters that staunchly support him because now he's become a figure, right? But what that man cannot get back is time. Put him in jail for 2 years. Let him miss the lives of his family, his children growing up, his friends. Can I help you, ma'am? He can't get that back. And that, to me, is the greater punishment. Not just locking him up because, you know, he's a dick, but taking time from somebody because that is a resource that you just can't get back, right? Oh, did your stomach wake? Is that why you're so eager?
I'm gonna nap. He was sleeping in the pile of grass clippings over in the corner.
You are so focused. Look at you go. Watch me. All right, you want to work? If you're so focused, do you want to work? Are you ready to work? Oh, there's squirrels up there. Are they frightening you? Timmy's afraid of squirrels. Are you okay? Is there really a squirrel up there?
Yeah, there are. It's good saying, I'd love to see a huge jail time as the initial punishment with the option
Sit.
to have, to avoid some of each by instead doing some community service that's conservation themed.
That is a fantastic, not even punishment. I think that is a fantastic idea. You can't take it. I'm attached. Thank you.
That right there reminds me of to then spend time scrubbing walls and cleaning up their community.
So I'm going to tell you a story and reveal something about myself. When I was a kid, like little kid, I stole candy from a convenience store. I got caught. And the convenience store owner made me work, well, my parents made me work, and with the convenience store owner outside picking up trash and helping out where I could as penance, right? And I couldn't have been maybe more than 7 or 8. And it was like 2 weekends in a row that I had to do this. But it makes a difference putting in time doing other things. I don't know. Maybe that's just another deterrent, I guess, is I don't want to have to work to do that. But for me, I never stole anything again.
Oh, such a cheap line.
Huh? Oh, no. Gross. Stop it. Get out of here. That's disgusting.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
I love it.
The idea of community service specific to the crime.
Yeah, I think that is fantastic. Watch. I think it's fantastic, and I think that it maybe will change the perspective of the person serving. Like maybe they're going to see a different side of the equation and be among people who are volunteering their time in service to the community, in service of conservation work. And maybe that strikes up a conversation that sticks with them, right? Are you eating the hair that I put there? That is what you get. I don't know why you thought that was a good idea. It ends the same way every time. So,
community service might help change their perspective towards the animals. And he's like, oh, you just said that, never mind. Also, Tibby, what are you doing? Eating your own hair.
he is, I mean, I think you're right. Power napped, and now he's like, I am ready. Are you ready to work? Squirrels? Oh my goodness, there's squirrels up there, buddy. We have baby squirrels that are up in this tree. And no, sir, that is not yours. And Tibby is, I think, less afraid of them than he is the big squirrels. But if he sees them about overhead, he'll go hide. He's not a fan of squirrels. They're so evil, huh? So, up.
Discussion really, it dips its toes into why people do these crimes in the first place. In a lot of cases, why would they even go so far as to maim and torture a wild animal? And I'm sure there's a whole number of different reasons.
I think that you're starting to get into a deeper discussion of what makes somebody tick, right? What makes somebody do the things that they do,
Absolutely.
right? Why do I work with these animals? Why not something else? Why do I prefer some horses over others, or some domestic breeds of dog over others? Dachshunds for the win, by the way. I love the doxies. But I think you have to look at, the core of what makes up a person. And I think that is like the big question, right? The existential meaning of life kind of question. Because it's all different for every person, right? Tibby, here. Sit, please. No, you didn't work for it.
So in the case of somebody that is maiming and
Up.
torturing wild animals, they lack the empathy to stop what they're doing and look at it from, as an act of cruelty, right?
Well, yeah. Again, I'm assuming, and it is an assumption because I am not this person, that he has an inherent dislike for these animals, probably feels like they're a dime a dozen, who gives a shit. They're pests. The only good wolf is a dead wolf. But then you go further and explore why, right? He's not a rancher, but maybe he does have close friends that are ranchers that have been seriously affected. Maybe that has skewed his views or his opinions. And maybe that is how, or the only way, that he and his group of people had ever seen these animals, right? And this is why we do programs, so you can see these animals, what they're like. They're inherently friendly with people. They'd rather be away from people. They'd rather keep to themselves and just keep on keeping on. But they're violent predators. Just not. And I really have a hard time personally understanding how people see these animals as so particularly violent when there are more bear attacks on people than wolves. Wolves will just, they'll peace out unless they're starving or have rabies, right? Most of the time they just want nothing to do with people. Bears will mess up your day because you just happen to be in the wrong spot. And bears are cool, but I have a healthy respect for wildlife and predators, regardless of what they are. Watch. You make me nervous with your eyes so close to this, buddy. Oh, I have more! Up, up. Up, up. Oh, gross. That was gross. Thank you, buddy. My big girl. No, you keep trying to steal it. I'm not giving it to you. You're not getting rewarded for that.
Yeah, I was chiming off the idea of community service as punishment, whereby you have people that do these things that lack the empathy to understand that what they're doing is really cruel and unusual. But do they lack the perspective, or do they lack
So I think in some cases it doesn't matter, perspective doesn't matter, because it may be a case of somebody is just not wired correctly. Truly, that's my personal opinion, right? However, I do think that perspective thing, it does change how you view somebody's situation. It changes how you view, or your opinions of their situation, because we only know our one perspective, right? Are you finding things in there? Hey, bud, if I toss them in there for you to find. Foraging at work, ladies and gents. Bird!
scratched off her back leg, her front leg?
Yeah.
They're ready to go.
This is my favorite thing about grass clippings. So you can hide all these little things in there for them to find and forage. But yeah, I mean, I think that having community service-based work surrounding conservation would be fantastic. You know, maybe open up discussion. And I'm a firm believer in having discussions, respecting other people's opinions, but you put somebody who's inherently like an anti-wolf advocate, right, in with a bunch of people who are pro-conservation, you are taking away that support structure and kind of putting somebody in an uncomfortable situation. And that may be enough to kind of spur some change. You know, that may be enough to change somebody's view on something. But at the same time, that's not going to be possible if you have advocates who are doing that same work who are rude or distasteful. Like you are rude. Bird, watch. Good girl. I think part of this work is or part of conservation education and part of being an advocate is understanding that your views are your own, right? And no. You always need to keep in mind that you should be respectful even if you don't agree. And I think it's the most important to let people have a platform to talk, to voice their opinion. Because most of the time that's all that people want, right? A place to have a chance to voice their opinion and why they feel the way that they do. You don't have to agree with it, but isn't it nice to give somebody that opportunity?
You're never going to change somebody's mind by telling them that they're wrong.
Absolutely. I think it's the whole kill it with kindness scenario. And maybe this is like indicative of, I watched a lot of Mr. Rogers growing up as a kid, where I really want to love and appreciate my neighbor. I really want to give them the same kindness and consideration that I would want from them. Even if they're not giving it to me first, it shouldn't be a situation where I'm like, well, you know, you're not being cool, so I'm not going to be cool to you. Like, where does that get you? That just makes you a dick too. I don't want to be that. I want to be the one that gives somebody a chance to have a conversation, to share their point of view, and to go, hey, thanks. I understand where you're coming from. They may not agree, they may not ever agree, and that's okay too. And that's the hardest part, I think, to deal with as somebody who is a strong conservation advocate, is I have to be okay with them never being on my side. Like that's probably the shittiest part. Oh, do I have more for you? Am I taunting you with treats? Are we going to practice? What time is it?
2:20.
2:20?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. We could keep on for like another 15 minutes. So we try to keep our sessions relatively short because, you know, this is space. Just kind enough. You just sit. Good boy. And we try not to evade it too much, you know, give them a break. It's a nice afternoon. Not a chance, lady. What did you think was going to happen? That's not how you get treats. You do sit. Are you doing the sit in place? Because you're the good boy. Sit. Thank you. Wait. No. You are shit. You see that? He's like, oh, she's getting fed too. Let me take hers first. No. You're not getting rewarded for that either. Yeah, I think there are a lot of ways to go about enacting change. I really, really, really love the idea of utilizing volunteer work towards conservation, right? I think that's pretty cool. I would love, love, love to see active jail time for people who torture animals, period. Doesn't matter what kind of animal it is. What are you doing over there? Oh no, you're gonna get me all gross. Oh, come here. No, we're gonna practice. Tibby, here please. That's not, he's already anticipating I'm gonna ask him to get up. So he's like, let me just do it for you before you ask. But I don't like anticipation. I like changing it up so they don't know what I'm asking. Tibby, sit. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's important to call your own representatives, find out what the laws are in your state or neighboring states. I think it's important to find out what the laws are in states that have these animals and make sure that elected representatives know that you're not willing to spend your money in their state if they're not protecting the wildlife that inhabits it, right? Or they don't take conservation seriously. What we like to say is, regardless of what side you're on, biodiversity and conservation impacts us all, whether you like it or not. Fact, man.
Battery's dying.
It's dying.
Yep.
Oh man, maybe that's a good time to just kind of like, bye.
I want to thank you, Scoots, for all the questions.
Thank you very much.
The camera we have mounted is, I don't know how long it's got left. Maybe a few minutes.
All right. Well then.
You're laying down here. Let these guys rest.
Yeah, let these guys rest, and then I actually have a meeting to take at 3 to get rabbits set up for these guys. So start breeding rabbits and use measure of sustainability and enrichment. So thank you guys for tuning in and listening to our TED Talk.
He says thanks for all your time.
No problem, dude. I love doing this. So stay tuned next week. I think we are, I should know this. Like, I dictate the schedule, and I like that. I'm like, okay, well, I think next week we're going to do enrichment. Maybe. I think it's enrichment. No, I'm a liar. It's non-lethal wolf livestock mitigation. So that is what is on the schedule for next week, guys. And after that is enrichment. So again, thank you very much for tuning in. Tibby, here, says thanks. He doesn't. He just wants food, but we're going to pretend.